この結果を踏まえ、国際レベルのプランを今年度完成させ、さらにクラブレベルまでこの戦略を浸透させていくよう働きかけていく予定でございます。
And we expect by the end of this fiscal year, we will finish up the international level strategic plan, and then it will become it will be further developed to the club level strategic plan.
これから国際協会事務総長でありますスコット・ドロンヘラーからより詳しいプレゼンテーションをしていただきます。
Lions Club's International Executive Administrator, Mr. Scott Drumheller, will give you more detail in his presentation after me.
この戦略プランは会員一人一人の意見の反映が不可欠であります。このセミナーで皆さんの積極的な質問とかご意見を期待しております。
It is very important to hear your opinion to shape our future of our association. So I'm encouraging all of you here to participate and give your opinion and ask questions to Scott.
それでは、スコット・ドラムヘラよろしくお願いいたします。
And thank you. So now I introduce Mr. Scott Drumheller.
Good morning. Good morning. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, I'll try to talk loudly. I might talk in the mic occasionally, but it's a small room, so let's try to make it a little more informal and comfortable. And we certainly want to encourage everyone to give us feedback and to share your ideas, share your thoughts. We're going to be taking notes as we go through the presentation today and getting your input on LCI Forward. How many of you have developed or worked on a strategic plan before in your work careers or Lions careers? Just raise your hand. Okay, a few. For those of you who have done this before, you know that this is a work in progress, that a strategic plan is never finished. For those of you who have not done this before, it's a difficult process. It takes a long time and it takes a lot of input. But we aren't finished getting all of our input, and this plan will ultimately will never be finished because it will be ongoing and evolving as we go forward. So we have approved the basic concepts of the strategic plan that I will share with you today through some of the PowerPoint slides. Some of the strategic initiatives that we're undertaking are already underway. We are initiating those and working on those right now. But even though we've begun to move forward with this strategic plan, it doesn't mean by any means that we're not finished with taking new ideas. So as you see the 4 major focus areas, we would like your input on how we can do a better job as an association to really meet the needs of those in our communities through those 4 areas of focus. So I'm going to be looking for your input. Dane LaJoy here with our PR and communications. Let's welcome Dane LaJoy. Dane will be helping me as we go through some of the slides to facilitate discussion. This is not supposed to be a session where you sit there and listen. This is a session where you will talk and you will share with us what works in your areas, what you think your communities need, what you think new members might be interested in, and we want to take that feedback, make that part of our action plans, make that part of what we do going forward as we look forward to 2020 to really move our association forward. The only way we move the association forward is through our clubs. So this is a strategic plan for the entire association, but this is a guide for our board and our headquarters office on what we're going to focus our resources on. But then we're going to develop this plan into club and district level strategic planning procedures and processes so that you at your district and club level can also engage in strategic planning and meet the needs of your community. So this is a process and it's going to evolve so that all the clubs can help the association move forward to our new direction. So I'll ask Dane to advance the slides. There's a lot of text on this particular slide. I want to leave it up there for a moment. I'm going to talk a little bit about what's on here. So I'm going to refer to my notes very briefly, just so I can make sure we have a chance to cover everything that's here in this particular overview. You'll see this information in a couple of different formats over the next few slides, but this is the core component of the strategic plan that's been approved by the board. And I want to emphasize the primary goal is really the target that we're looking for. How we achieve that goal will come in a number of different ways. And we may not even know, as we sit here today, stand here today, we may not know all of the different ways that we will work toward achieving that primary goal. And I'm going to read, this one time, I'm going to read from the slide. I don't normally do that, but I want to emphasize the primary goal. To respond to growing needs worldwide, our primary goal is to improve the lives of at least 200 million per year by 2020 through humanitarian service. And this last part's a key, tripling our impact. Tripling our impact. So right now, based on data that we receive from clubs, we believe that we impact about 67 million lives a year through our humanitarian service. Now, in reality, it must be much more than that because we don't have all the data we need. We get data from clubs that report service activities. We get data from the clubs and the members who tell us the impact they're having. But many times we get reports from clubs that don't talk about impact. So we can't measure the impact that your activities are having on the lives in your communities. So the first thing that I have to point out is one way for us to triple our impact is to improve upon how we report and communicate the impact that we're having. So I think, personally, that we are impacting many more than 67 million lives a year as an association, all of our clubs. But we have to build our structures and our reporting mechanisms and our technology platforms in order to capture as much of this information as possible moving forward so that we can demonstrate that we are having the kind of impact that we are setting as our primary goal, which is 200 million lives a year. It's an audacious goal, it's a big goal, but it's definitely achievable. In fact, I have argued that maybe it could be even more, but as a group of staff working with our board of directors, we have agreed that this is a worthy goal for 2020. And we believe it's one that we can achieve. Now, I would like to see that 500 million. That's kind of lofty and maybe it's a little bit of a dream, but I think it's possible. So for now, this is our goal. This is what we want to achieve. And it's going to require us to do a better job of telling the world the story about what Lions do, what clubs are doing in their communities, and the impact that we're having. So one of the things that you'll see when you look at these strategic goals is that we're talking about service impact. So many times we talk about how many members we have, how large our association is, and that is a very, very good statistic. We're the largest in the world. Everyone knows that. We tell everybody we're the largest in the world, and that's fantastic. But being the largest in the world only makes a difference if we have the largest impact. So membership growth is an important part of the strategic plan because we believe more members equals more service, more hands to do the work. So sometimes we talk a lot about membership, and we talk about increasing that membership, and here in Osceola, all of the clubs and all of the areas are doing a fantastic job at membership growth, and I applaud you and congratulate you on that work. I think that the outcome of that membership growth is the ability to achieve that primary goal of 200 million lives positively impacted by Lions service. So how are we going to achieve the 200 million? In addition to technology platforms, we're going to have to do more service, report that service, and make sure the service we're doing has the appropriate resources allocated to that area of service so that we can get the most out of those activities. So the first thing we're going to do, as you see in the supporting goals, is we're looking to update our global service focus. You may or may not be aware that we have over 40 different service activities that are listed and supported in some way by the International Office, the International Board. And because there are so many, we do not have the resources to support all of those adequately. And in some ways, some of those are areas of activity that maybe just a few clubs are involved in. Maybe it's a lot of clubs that are involved in it, but it doesn't necessarily require a lot of resources. So one thing we're doing right now, and some of you may have received an email survey, and some of you will be receiving that in the next few weeks, about service focus. We're looking to update our areas of service so that we can be more deliberate in how we support Lions and their service activities. So we are looking to establish a global service focus, and we plan to announce that in the next year ahead. We are also going to work on our marketing. We are going to endeavor to be the best known brand for voluntary service. I would suggest to you that we are known. Our logo is one of the most known logos in the world, but people often ask, what do Lions do? So we need to do a better job at marketing who Lions are and what we're doing. So we're going to work on a strategic marketing plan that will be focused on getting the word out about what Lions are doing. Now, that goes hand in hand with our primary goal, because the more impact we have, the more service we're doing, the more the public's going to be interested in hearing about what Lions are doing. And this comes down to telling a story, to being storytellers about the activities that we do, not just talking about how many members we have, for example. As an association, we are going to work toward being the best in class for services to our members, clubs, districts throughout our association. So we are going to work on a quality improvement program to provide the best services possible. And while we continue to do great service in our clubs, we have to look to the future. We have to look for new ways to deliver voluntary service to our community. The way we do it now is excellent. Our clubs are well known throughout the world as being helpful and supportive of the community. We need to continue to do that without question. But as an association, we also need to think about how can we do more? How can we engage more people in service, whether they are or are not a member of a club? So we're going to be looking for new ways to engage people in humanitarian service, to volunteer, to do work in the name of Lions, and that will help us, again, achieve our primary goal of impacting more lives. Of course, part of all of this requires looking at the membership experience, making sure that the member is engaged, making sure that the member is happy, because one of our biggest challenges is retention. We lose 200,000 members a year. 200,000 members leave us in a year. Now, we're very fortunate that we gained 220,000 members a year and offset that unfortunate loss. But we cannot continue to operate with that kind of loss. And the reason members leave is many, but one of the reasons is the member's not engaged. And sometimes members leave in that first year or two. We're seeing that trend, and it's because they did not get connected to their club, they did not get connected to providing service to their community, or they did not feel that being a member had enough benefit to continue. So we need to work on making sure the member experience is positive, that the benefits are very well communicated to our members so that they stay. Because if we can retain just some of those 200,000 that we lose and continue to gain 220,000 a year, we can certainly do so much more service. So these are our primary strategic goals and supporting goals, and we'll go to the next slide. We've taken all of this information and we put it into some visuals that I'll kind of show you over the next few slides. And we've created what's called the strategy wheel. This wheel just demonstrates visually all of the areas of focus that we really want to put our efforts behind. It's all the same things that I just mentioned, but we wanted to show that these all work together, and not one is more important than another. They all have to happen together. So we show it in a wheel, and we show those arrows going around that we need to continually do this, all of these things, to move toward our primary goal of reaching and improving the lives of over 200 million people. This is just a framework. This is not, in and of itself, it is not the answer to how we're going to do that, but it provides us with areas that we can put our efforts into. We can focus our human resources, our volunteer hours, and our financial resources into these areas, and as long as all of the activities we're undertaking support these 4 areas, we believe that we can be successful in achieving our primary goal. So there are these strategic initiatives that I mentioned earlier that help further each of the 4 areas of service. The first one that I'd like to mention again is the one over here on the right, the updated global cause. This is the service platform that we want to announce in the next 6 to 9 months that will become the focus of the resources that Lions Clubs International puts into service activities and supporting the activities of clubs. This global cause may be 1, 2, or 5 different things. We don't know yet because we're still gathering information. In fact, today we're going to gather some information from you about what you think is important about moving forward on a service impact. The strategic marketing plan I mentioned, we need to let more people know about what we're doing. The total quality program, we need to provide best-in-class service. And then new innovative products, this is the future. This is where we want to look ahead. Where do we need to be in 2020 and beyond to continue to engage more people in voluntary service, whether or not they may be a member of a club. So as the director mentioned in his introduction, the board has approved these strategic areas of focus, the strategic initiatives that support all of these areas of focus, and the board has begun a review of all of the different areas of our association and preparing how we can use defined specific actions to achieve these areas. So the action plans that the director mentioned were developed at the most recent board meeting that would have been October. I always lose track of what month it is. October of this year. We met committee by committee, as well as once as an entire board of directors. And we began working on these action plans for every committee and every division and department of the association. And we are now gathering all of these action plans together into a comprehensive action plan document. We are working with 4 of our directors as a project team, and we are developing this action plan so that we can review it with the Long Range Planning Committee in January, and then give feedback to the board at the next board meeting so that we can finalize all of the steps that we're going to undertake to achieve these 4 areas of focus as well as the 4 strategic initiatives. These action plans are goals, actual things that we're going to try to accomplish, but they are a work in progress, as I said. All of this can still be supplemented, and we will continue to develop it as we go forward. So to kind of summarize where we're at, the next slide, is we started this process in January of this year. It actually started a few months before that as we developed some ideas to share with the Long Range Planning Committee. The Long Range Planning Committee gave specific strategic direction on how we should move forward with this strategic plan. And we've been working with the board and working with the staff to develop this over the past several months. We expect to finalize our action plans and our way of going forward this coming January 2016. We've been working to engage all Lions and all staff in this process. It comes at several different levels. One, we've created this project team of 4 members of our board who will work more hands-on in developing and further refining these action plans and helping us with our strategic initiatives to get those moving forward. But we've also been going to each of the forums, and I know a few of you have indicated that you've seen this presentation before at another forum, but we're trying to get feedback from every constitutional area so that we can have everyone's input and buy-in into how we're going to move forward in the next 5 years. We also are going to be working from what we receive in these forums, as well as what we receive in the surveys relating to our service activities, which are ongoing right now. All of that information will become part of our strategic planning and our plans going forward. So what we're doing now is making sure that this covers what, as an association, we want to do in the next 5 years. So I'll give you a little status report, kind of show you the steps we went through. Early in the year, I mentioned that we did some work with the Long Range Planning Committee, which involved looking at trends, looking at past surveys. We've done a lot of research. We've had a lot of organizations that have done research for us, prepare reports that we then reviewed with the Long Range Planning Committee. All of that background and data from prior surveys, prior studies, is part of what formulated this plan. We looked at areas where we're strong, we looked at areas where we're weak, and we've developed this to be consistent with what we found in evaluating our organization. The areas of focus were formulated, the goals were developed. We've done that over the past few months. And I mentioned in October the action plans were developed and are still being refined. And right now, you can see we're at the forum feedback part of this process. It is not complete, even with the feedback we get from the forums, because this will evolve over the next 5 years as well. We expect January, the Long Range Planning Committee will give feedback on all of the action plans, give direction to the committees on how the board will move forward in implementing the strategic plan. And from that, the headquarters will work through our groups, through our divisions and our departments to implement all of those strategic initiatives that the board and the action plans that the board has developed. We will begin those implementations after January and into the spring months. But this is the very important part that I know was mentioned at the very beginning. We're not finished if we finish our strategic plan. Even if the association has a plan to follow going forward, we will continue to develop that plan as we see opportunities to impact more people. So we'll be continuing to look at our strategic plan from that perspective, but we also plan to develop a club and district strategic planning process. And we will share that with the clubs next fiscal year through the district governors, through the clubs, to make sure that everyone in the organization can look at the association's plan and then look at what the clubs are doing and how that can impact and help us achieve our primary goal by 2020. So this is an overview of LCI Forward. Thank you for listening. This is the last part of the speaking and presenting of this particular session. Now I would like for us to move into a dialogue to talk about each of the areas of focus. And to do that, I'm going to ask Dane LaJoy to come up and begin facilitating our discussion. And I'll also interact with this discussion, and we'll be taking notes down of all your suggestions, and we're looking forward to your input on how we can further develop this strategic plan. So with that, I welcome Dane to join me. Give Dane a hand, please.
And I'm going to work from the podium because I'm going to be transcribing your feedback so I can bring it with me to Oak Brook. So one of the things that Scott mentioned that we're working on right now is a focus on service, a new focus perhaps on service going forward. And so one of the things, part of the feedback we want to get from all Lions in all constitutional areas is how should our humanitarian service evolve? And we want to kind of get it from each constitutional area perspective. And talk about all four sections that Scott went over. One of the things that I'm obviously interested in is reshaping public opinion and improving the visibility of Lions clubs. So we want to kind of get your feedback in terms of how do we distinguish ourselves from, let's say, Rotary or from Kiwanis or from Red Cross or Red Crescent. What distinguishes us as an organization? How do you see that we are distinguished from other service-type organizations? And if you raise your hand, this is just an open discussion. And I'm actually very pleased, I have to say, I see some Leos in the room. And that's exciting to get a young perspective, as well as the perspective of some of our more seasoned Lions members. But so how do we see this? How do we distinguish ourselves? What can we do to distinguish ourselves from other organizations? Your thoughts, ideas, apart from the logo. Now, as Scott mentioned, our logo is very distinctive. And we do know from research that in a comparison against Rotary, Kiwanis, and several other well-known international organizations, the Lions logo in focus groups did score higher by a couple percentage points over Rotary. So that's a good thing. But what else can we do to distinguish ourselves from other organizations? And one of those areas could be service, right? I mean, Rotary focuses on the eradication of polio, for example. That's one of the things that their main focus is. But how else can we distinguish ourselves from other organizations? Any ideas?
Feel free to speak up.
Sir,
Yes.
I guess it is more of service where there is teamwork involved in our organization. We work hand in hand together.
Teamwork. We're very much a community-based organization. We really are. And I would say that's a really good way to distinguish it, that we are connected to our community. We work as a team with our community, don't we, to connect. As opposed to Rotary, who it's a little bit different setup. They're more, say, for example, they tend to be in larger urban areas. Lions are in urban areas, but we're also in rural areas. We really do connect with our community. That's a great point. So teamwork and how we connect to our communities. Anything else?
Yes, I think the other way from the lady that already mentioned is our platform. Site first, because if you don't have your sites nice, it is impossible to remember to have, think clearly about the face of our life and the rest of that 10 issue that we
Sure.
deal with.
You're right, you know, serving the blind and visually impaired is certainly a hallmark program of Lions Clubs, and has been, really since our roots. Actually, most people don't realize that even though Helen Keller asked us in 1925 to become Knights of the Blind, at our founding in 1917, there were already clubs working with the blind and visually impaired before Helen Keller actually asked us to be Knights of the Blind. So that is a hallmark program, and you're right. Sight first and sight activities, great way to distinguish ourselves. Sir?
Do we have international t-shirts for Lions? Because there's so many colors that the Lions are wearing. There's no unity, there's no uniformity. So I think LCI should come up with our own Lions t-shirt, and it should be, going down to all levels, and every one of us should wear that t-shirt when we do projects, and that shows our publicity.
Yeah, branded t-shirts, branded wear, sure. I mean, sometimes you'll see Lions wear a vest, sometimes a polo shirt, but yeah, that's a great idea. More distinctive clothing that's important to wear at service projects, so that it tells people that these are Lions working in your community. Yes?
I think one also that makes us unique among the Rotary and other organization is our sense of voluntarism, our selfless love. So the thing that person cannot even what I meant to say is that love to serve, that deep inside us to help people, that it makes us unique. The sense of voluntarism and
Sure.
belongingness.
Selfless dedication to serving others. Yeah, we often hear that the most important characteristic of being and becoming a Lion is simple. Serve your community, right? So you're right, that's a great way to distinguish ourselves. One more?
One of the best and most creative ways that I could think of right now, the Lions Clubs have affiliation or partnership with the local communities like government, local hospitals, like institutions that we can partner with, which are more permanent than the temporary projects throughout the year, because Lions Clubs can fund. We have a lot of members who are able to maintain their membership by paying their dues, and they have funding for their projects. So it would do best if we are more creative with our partnership and affiliations with the local community, aside from the short-term projects, more permanent partnership with, say, hospitals, civic groups in the localities. Especially, for example, I'm from the Philippines. So in the Philippines, we are an archipelago, and we have municipalities where Lions can reach out, like the Typhoon Haiyan, our relief project. We could partner with the local government that we have in barangays, in cities and municipalities, and make it more permanent, because I have seen Lions Clubs help build logos and walkways, footbridge, and it says donated by so-and-so Lions Club. So it makes it more prominent if we can engrave, if we can make it more visible by building such infrastructure.
Absolutely, thank you. It is important that our projects are more prominent in our community. So one of the other questions I wanted to ask on this particular section is, how do we best create a public relations network, if you will, at the district level? I often say that it's impossible to do public relations worldwide from Oak Brook. It can't be done. We have to rely on the Lions at the club, district, multiple district level. So if we focus on the district, what are some ways that we can build a better public relations network or public relations team at the district level? Ideas? Yeah.
One idea is establishing our national identity to the public, introducing our projects to them, let them know us, talk to the community, talk to the people around, talk to the institutions, Lions in the Philippines. So if they know about us, our national identity as the Lions, and if they know who we are, they know the service that we give, I think that's one way of knowing us. And they will help us in other services that they needed us, and we needed them, so we work together hand in hand.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
On the subject of Lions public image, personally I felt, especially in this part of the world, our South Asia, basically what the public perception of us is also very, very important. Then what we really do. There's no doubt, I think, from observation of our regions, also constitutional area, we did a lot working with local communities, partnership with the government agencies, and they all recognize us. But we are looking, I think, today the subject into the future is the public image and public perception. What they think of us is what is different from what we project ourselves. What they think of us is more important, the perception of the public. And that we notice, there's no doubt Lions are very hands-on, just on the subject, mentioned that we did go down to the root to serve. And the public has gained confidence and trust totally in us. And through that, I think we have made milestone in fundraising through the public, individually and institutionally. I believe we still have a lot more to do. Individually, I think we have done quite a fair bit in this part. The most important thing today, we notice our friendly competitors, our friends in partnership. Rotary Club do a lot of commercial now. That is a subject that we should take a thought. How do we communicate in a public billboard communication that do not have any negative impact on us, but yet allow us to gain the brand image of Lions? And we notice they are doing this in the airports, in many billboards, all over in the beginning. Only these couple of years they are doing that. So we would like to let everybody give a thought on this. How do we shape public perception on this?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's very important. Okay, Scott, do you want to go to the next subject? I think we're already there. Pursue district organizational excellence. A couple of questions that we wanted to ask with regard to this particular section. What should we put into what we call a total quality improvement program? How do we get more clubs, for example, how do we have more clubs do websites and be on social media as part of an overall club improvement, a district improvement program? Any ideas? More and more Lions are on the internet. We know that for a fact. We know that through our surveys that we've done. But is it enough? Maybe some of our Leo members have some ideas. You probably live on the internet, right? How do we get more clubs and districts on board with websites and Facebook pages or any other social media type activities?
So coming from this internet generation, does LCI have or can provide us templates that are more,
user-friendly,
distinguished and can be more noticeable as Lions, so that we don't make our own. So if you provide us templates and then we can just upload materials and make it more uniform, as our colleague has said, with the uniforms or the clothing. Aside from that, also on the website, we can be more distinguished as organization if we have more uniform websites. And just, put different distinguishing marks for each country probably, but template that we can just use so that all of us, when there is a club, we do not have to think of ways on how to put a website together.
Thank you. Yeah, we have templates for the websites. What we're working on now is templates for Facebook pages and other social media. We have the e-clubhouse for the websites, but yeah.
Well, actually, now I saw on Facebook, basically, more and more of the districts and our own clubs, we do create the pages. And when we have the district one, for the club-wise, we just post it on behalf of the club name instead of our own Facebook pages, the personal one, to the district to share about our projects. For that.
Okay, thank you. And I want you to be thinking of this in terms of what do you need from us? As she pointed out, we can provide templates, but what can LCI do to better serve clubs, to enhance the service to our clubs from a headquarters perspective? Any other ideas? What do you need from LCI to make your jobs, your life, easier as a Lion? Another question I'd want to throw out to you is, how do we get more than a third of clubs growing every year? We often ask ourselves, even in the years that we're growing, and we've been fortunate to grow 8 years in a row now, we wonder, are those numbers skewed? In other words, is the growth in certain parts of the world making up for non-growth in other parts of the world? So is it equal? Are we growing more in India, China, OSEAL than other areas of the world? How can we spread that growth more equally around the world? You're stumped. Sir.
I think one of the reasons that the inequality of the growth is because some of the areas they have an average of the club members 65 years old. So that is the problem. The youth is not coming forward. And what is the reason why the youth is not coming forward could be there's too many senior members in the club. And when the youth come and join, and they say, oh, it's all senior members. So they will very fast leave the club. That is one of the problems I think some of the countries are facing. The areas in OSEAL, they're growing very fast because there's a lot of youth coming in. There's a lot of youth coming in. And I think that this youth program, it has to be towards to the whole world. And there must be some, from LCI, what is LCI trying to tell us what to do? You know, some of the countries that recently I went to New Zealand, NZ Forum. The average club members are 65. They are not getting new members coming in. So I think we have to focus how we can get the youth get involved in Lions.
Right, so and that's a really good point. We'd all love to see the average age of our membership come down. So what can LCI do to assist you in that vein?
Another thing I thought of is, does LCI have a YouTube channel? Do we have a channel that promotes all the activities and all the offers, the benefits that members can get from joining LCI? Because all of us are on YouTube now. So you search Lions clubs and then they can, interact, engage, and be more, active, even just, participating online.
Sure. And we do have a YouTube channel, but what I think I'm hearing is we may have some of these communication vehicles that we can provide, but we're not doing a good enough job of getting the word out to the Lions that this is available. So maybe that's something LCI can improve upon our communication to the clubs and districts to make them more aware of the resources that are available to them. Yes? Sir?
I think that it would be good if LCI can help each district to create a big chart so that every club, when they have project, they can put it in that calendar. All the club, when they can participate when in our areas, for example, we are there, we know that which Lions Club are doing what project, and we also will help that in case the date is clashed. And for a weak club which may not have able to hold a lot of projects, they can participate. So the international encourage Lions from other clubs to join, they feel proud of their achievement. So if LCI do it, it would be nice because just one template for all the districts.
Okay, thank you. One area I wanted to ask about, how many are you here to participate in the Club Excellence Awards? Is there a way that we can improve Club Excellence Awards so that more clubs take advantage of it? So that the awards are more sought after by Lions. Are Club Excellence Awards important in OSEAL? Some constitutional areas are more active with Club Excellence Awards than others. Is it important? Is it a priority in OSEAL?
We have a problem.
Okay, yeah.
We have a problem with the submission of reports. I think a lot of the clubs, they're facing a problem with having the secretary to submit the My LCI report and through the district for the reports. So is there a way that the LCI can integrate and, the raw report?
That's a great idea. How can LCIs better streamline reports? That's a great idea. Okay, thank you. Scott, can you go on to the next one? I want to make sure we have time to get to all 4 sections today. So I want to talk a little bit about what are some of the important needs, membership needs in OSEAL. And again, we've done this seminar in each constitutional area so far, and so it's important that we get a feel for that particular constitutional area. We always say one size does not fit all in one, so we want to make sure that we're getting proper feedback from each area. So, how in OSEAL, how do you define the value of membership? What is the value of Lions membership from an OSEAL perspective? Now, one line earlier mentioned our reputation. We have a great reputation. So perhaps being a member of a Lions Club brings with it a certain prestige in some areas. Would that be something that you see here in OSEAL, that being a member of a Lions Club is prestigious, it's an honor?
Yes.
How can we better promote the growth of family clubs, women, and as somebody mentioned earlier, younger people? How can we better promote the growth of families, women, and younger people? What are we not doing that we should be doing in terms of family clubs? Are family clubs growing in OSEAL? They are. They're growing in OSEAL, so it's more and more important in OSEAL that Lions are volunteering with their family, right? Is there something we can do that we're not doing that we can better assist with the promotion of that? What about among women? Growth of women in Lionism in OSEAL is doing very well. Very well, actually. I don't have the statistics in front of me, but I think OSEAL is probably leading the way in terms of the percentage of women joining Lions clubs and the percentage of women that are taking on leadership roles. But can we do better? What can we do to make that even better than it is now? We have several women in the room. Any ideas? In the back? Yes, ma'am.
I think we should have more programs that involve the women.
More programs that women would be...
It's women-oriented only. Of course, in OSEAL, there are some countries who are not yet open to this idea. But in my country, in the Philippines, the women leads more, I guess.
Can you give me an example of what might be a project or program?
like in the peace poster contest that we just had, there should be more, you should reach more women, or probably come up with a peace poster contest for women artists only. Environmental photo, again, only for women. Probably an idea like that, but it should be more geared on women. Leadership training for women. We need that also,
Okay.
especially in OCL.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. And let's go to the fourth one. We haven't covered one yet. We have time to do that.
We've covered the first one.
I skipped the first one, huh?
That's where we can wrap up on the first one. I think we received some comments already about making sure we continue to engage in Site First programs and vision programs. That's something that we're known for. But what else is important in your communities as far as our humanitarian service? What should be our focus? Where should we put our resources? What would help OCL and the Lions of OCL the most?
Does the work with for example, does the work with the blind and visually impaired, does that still resonate with Lions members in OCL? Is it as important as perhaps other areas of service?
I come from Taiwan. Yeah. In the last year for Taiwan, we donated LCI for fourth one in all the world. But we need the hope for the promote the LCI. Because in Taiwan, it's like a Chinese culture, so not many people know how it work for the Lion Club. Well, I think we need to change the Lion Club like a business, company. We have to put some other type to give the Taiwanese, Chinese, Japanese, Koreans know what LCI how to work. Like in the last year in Taiwan, we said about Africa. Look, the Lion Club help with the Africa with the Bill Gates. So everybody donated LCI. But this year, in the Taiwanese, waiting for Lion Club donate who, helping who, but nobody knows. So, I want to say, in the Taiwan, every year, going up the member over the $100, but every year lose the $100. Why? Because many people join the Lion Club for 1 year and don't understand what we do, and they go back again. So LCI is really, really important because we are the big organizers in the 140 countries. We got many million members. So we have to show, give all the world how we do, what we do, because the time is short. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Is it possible that some of the focus we have on service doesn't resonate with people? Is that why people are joining Lions but maybe not staying? We're about to celebrate our centennial. We are looking to the future. What will be our service projects into the next century? We wanted to get your feedback on what do you see as service, the direction of our service going forward in the next century? And is that changing? A good example, 50 years ago, no one had ever heard of AIDS, and now it's everywhere. That's an example of how the needs are changing and evolving, right? What else can we think of that might be a focus of service in the future? Certainly, perhaps, the environment, right? Is that what you were going to say? The environment, because we all have to deal with the environment. It affects everyone. So that may be an area. Anything else? Other areas? Yes, ma'am, in the back.
I would think diabetics, we are already, LCS designated activity with the diabetes awareness, the strides and everything, but there's not enough publicity it's not making impacts, the impact it should in many districts. Like in the country that I come from, Malaysia, diabetes is the mother of all diseases. Many people die because they have diabetes and it gets into other areas of the health. So I think the LCI's a lot of Lions still don't know the importance of the diabetics program that LCI already has. It's probably not well promoted in parts of the world.
That's a great point. Diabetes is on the rise everywhere, and perhaps there are ways that our diabetes program at LCI can evolve and become better. So, thank you. Yes.
On the humanitarian service in general, all of these, the sight, the diabetes, and the diseases or illnesses that we address, all of those pertain to health. So maybe we can focus more on, making people healthy, encouraging them to take care more of their bodies, because our bodies are vessels, and if we are sick, then we cannot serve. And then it says here, for our centennial, where there's a need, there's a lion. So to identify the basic needs, those are shelter, food, clothing, medicine, that can address, the needs of especially the poor. Because I am sorry to say that I grew up in Lions Club since I was 9 years old. My father has been very active and he became a district governor. And we've been attending the projects. But Lions is known more as a prestigious organization, not more of a service-oriented association. Please pardon me for bringing that up. So I believe that that's the difference that we have as compared to Rotary Club or Red Cross. Red Cross, where there's blood donation, they are there. Always. Never miss an opportunity to donate blood. And it's regular. And they have partnerships with government agencies, hospitals, other institutions, schools. So I think in order to evolve more on the humanitarian service that we provide, we need to really strengthen our partnerships with the stronger institutions, because Lions Club is a civic organization. So we are not always in the media, and right now the social media will give us an opportunity to be known more all over the world, and from the senior generation to the younger generation, all throughout, Facebook, YouTube, and the websites. We were just looking through the website. They're full of programs, and very admirable programs too. So it's more of focusing on the service and not really the membership dues. And you're right about the reports, that there needs to be a streamlining of the reports submitted so that it's more regular, it's easy. The ease of submission and coordination with the Lions Clubs International. So.
Thank you. Yeah, I think, yes, please, absolutely.
Thinking about humanitarian, we have heard the IP talk yesterday about refugees, yes.
Yes.
That is an important issue right now. And to combine this with the introduction of AEC at the end of this month, I think this matter will expand to include the labor from ASEAN members. When they come to our country, or when our labor went to work in other countries, they will have difficulty in various areas. So this is a kind of aspect that we may try to exert our part
Sure.
as a lion. The other one that I would like to mention is Thailand right now become have more senior people. Yeah. So it's better for us to look at this aspect as well.
Yes, yeah. Around the world, we are an aging population.
Yes, I'm from Taiwan and Hungary. And when we're talking about the service, we always mention community service.
Yes.
But I would like to mention another idea. We must have service two kinds. One is inside service, one is outside service. Inside service means to our members. We also have to do some service. If our members come to our Lions Club, then we serve them with our LCI or district. Then they will feel, they be support, then they can learn more. So for example, in Taiwan, since 5 years ago, we have one institute we call the Taiwan Lions University. For this university, we have each year we have 24, the courses, every kind, many kind, multiple contents, For example, one of it, we said the history keeper. We asked the older, maybe 50 years. For example, 2 years ago, we made a record for one of the 97 years old, the lion, and we make record from him. Now he passed away, but he, told us what happened 50 years before, 60 years before in Taiwan. Such kind of the thing, I think we have to do service for the members too.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very important. Service to our members. It's almost like a garden, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you don't take care of your garden, it's not going to produce results. If we don't take care of our lions, serve our lions, we're going to lose them, right? And we are losing many. So it's a really good point.
Yes.
I think the director is going to give us some closing remarks.
Thank you for your presentation. Maybe I can understand completely shaping future. Thank you.
Thank you all very much for your feedback. Thank you.